What's the latest right now on the IRS and what we know about these groups?
Well, we're all waiting, of course, for Friday's hearing to take place. It's the first of several that Congress is going to hold. It's going to be in the House Ways and Means Committee. The acting commissioner of the IRS, Stephen Miller, is going to testify. And one of the questions that can be posed out there to him, and we saw it in the IG's report, and you just touched on it, Sarah, is were Democratic groups, were liberal-sounding groups also under the same kind of scrutiny. The IG's report suggests that perhaps they weren't, but we do know that at least some of them were given the same kind of tough test that was imposed by the IRS here. Those three groups you mentioned, one of them, Emerge America, a group based in San Francisco, it was rejected by the IRS because the IRS determined it was politically active, too politically active to qualify for tax-exempt status. And one other thing that's going to come out in the course of this investigation, at least it's in the IG's report, is that while the IG faults the management for allowing this targeting to take place, it does not conclude that the targeting took place for political reasons. In fact, the report says, we believe the frontline career employees that made the decisions acted out of a desire for efficiency and not out of any political or partisan viewpoint. But the fact that they did use these specific names, they filtered Tea Party, Patriot, other conservative groups' names, that was the mistake that these folks made, and it's a mistake that even the FBI is investigating to see if it merits a criminal violation.
Well, as these new details come to light on the timing issue, Peter, why didn't the IRS come clean sooner?
Well, that is a big question, and that's perhaps the biggest question on the part of Republicans' minds right now. They're upset with the whole situation, the targeting that took place, but more importantly, they've been asking about this for about 2 years. They've sent multiple letters to the IRS. Is targeting taking place? Can you tell us? And every response they got basically was, no, targeting isn't taking place. We even had the former commissioner of the IRS in March of 2012 testifying in front of Congress, in front of a hearing, that it wasn't happening. We now know that later he did learn it was happening, yet nobody came forward to tell Congress. That's where a lot of members of Congress are most upset right now, and perhaps where the most heat could be generated on Friday. They say they didn't come forward, Sarah, because this active IG's investigation was underway and they didn't want to affect the investigation, but that is not going to fly with a lot of members of Congress.
Peter, the bright lights will most definitely be shining at that hearing on Friday. Who's going to be sitting in the hot seat?
Again, it's the acting commissioner of the IRS who really will be on the hot seat, Stephen Miller. He was behind closed doors yesterday with the chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, who plans his own hearings. He was not in charge when a lot of this was taking place, Eric, but he's still going to be the person who's looked to most directly in terms of responsibility right now. He's going to be on the hot seat having to explain what happened here. He admits the IRS made mistakes. He had an op-ed, but it says, again, it wasn't done for partisan or political purposes. It was a mistake made by lower-level employees. Again, that's the question, whether or not that flies with members of Congress.